Your mom works in a little office doing boring computer stuff. Aunt Brittany has a real career, a real life. My sister's voice carried through her kitchen door where I'd gone to refill my coffee, her tone dripping with the kind of pity that's really just cruelty in disguise. My daughter Zoe, only 10 years old, must have asked about my work, and my sister Brittany had decided to answer with poison. What Brittany didn't know, what she couldn't possibly know, was that the $890,000 house she was standing in, the Range Rover in her driveway, and the $45,000 annual tuition for her twins at Ashford Academy were all being paid by a family trust that I'd been secretly funding for 3 years, and I could end it all with a single phone call. But let me start at the beginning, because this story doesn't make sense without context. My name is Vanessa Calloway, and I'm a quantitative analyst for a hedge fund. That's a fancy way of saying I build mathematical models that predict market movements and help extremely wealthy people make extremely profitable investment decisions. It's not glamorous work. I sit at a computer for 10 hours a day writing code and analyzing data. I wear jeans to work. My office is small and windowless. And I make $680,000 a year, plus bonuses that last year totaled $1.2 million. My sister Brittany is a pharmaceutical sales rep. She makes about $85,000 annually, drives a company car, and has an expense account for client dinners. To hear her tell it, she's a high-powered executive closing million-dollar deals and living the corporate dream. She's not. She's a sales rep, a good one, but still just a sales rep. We grew up in suburban New Jersey, middle-class family. Both parents worked. Brittany was the social one, cheerleader, prom queen, popular. I was the quiet one who spent lunch period in the computer lab. Brittany went to a small liberal arts college and majored in communications. I went to MIT and got a degree in applied mathematics. After college, Brittany bounced between jobs, marketing coordinator, event planner, HR assistant, before landing in pharmaceutical sales. She found her niche. She's charming, persuasive, good with people. She met her husband Carson at a sales conference. He's in medical device sales. They make a combined $165,000 a year. I got recruited by a hedge fund straight out of grad school. Started at $120,000 plus bonus. By year 3, I was making $300,000. By year 5, $500,000. Now, at 36, I'm pulling in nearly $2 million annually when you include bonuses. Brittany has no idea. To her, to our entire family, I'm still the nerdy younger sister with the computer job. I don't correct them. I drive a 10-year-old Subaru. I live in a modest 3-bedroom house in Westchester. I shop at Target. I don't wear designer labels or flash wealth. Brittany, meanwhile, lives like she makes 5 times what she actually earns. Or she tries to. 3 years ago, she called me crying. She and Carson had bought a house in an exclusive Connecticut suburb, $890,000, stretching their budget to breaking point. Then they'd enrolled their twin girls in Ashford Academy, one of the most prestigious private schools in the state. $45,000 per year per child. We can't make the numbers work, she sobbed over the phone. The mortgage is $5,200 a month. The school is $7,500 a month. Carson's commissions are down. I don't know what to do. Why did you buy such an expensive house? I asked. Because this is where successful people live. This is where our girls' classmates live. We can't be the poor family in the cheap neighborhood. Maybe the girls could go to public school. Public school? Vanessa, are you serious? Our daughters deserve the best education. They deserve to network with the right families. They deserve opportunities. I said nothing. My own daughters, Zoe, 10, and Emma, 7, went to public school. They were thriving. Can you help us? Brittany finally asked. Just a loan. We'll pay you back. I should have said no. I should have let her learn the lesson every adult needs to learn. You can't afford what you can't afford. But she was my sister, and I thought maybe this would humble her. Maybe she'd learn to appreciate what she had. I was wrong. I can't give you a loan, I said. But let me look into something. What I did was set up a family trust. I funded it with $2 million from my investment portfolio. Money I'd made from a particularly profitable trading algorithm I'd developed. I structured it so payments came from the Calloway Family Trust, with me as trustee, but anonymous to the beneficiaries. The trust paid Brittany's mortgage, $5,200 monthly. It paid the private school tuition, $90,000 annually. It covered her car lease when her company car got reassigned, $850 monthly. In 3 years, I'd paid out approximately $427,000 to maintain Brittany's lifestyle. She thought it came from our late grandmother's estate. She thought a trust had been set up years ago that was finally paying out. She never asked detailed questions because she didn't want to look suspicious, and I certainly never offered information. And what did I get for my generosity? What did I get for secretly funding my sister's champagne lifestyle on a beer budget? I got to hear her tell my daughters that I was a failure. The comment happened at a family birthday party for the twins. Brittany insisted on hosting at her house, the house I was paying for, and invited the whole family. Her house was decorated like a magazine spread, balloon arches, catered food, a dessert table that probably cost $2,000. My contribution was a $100 gift card to Target for each girl. Brittany's smile when she opened them was tight. How practical. The twins opened other gifts. $300 American Girl dolls from our parents, designer clothes from Carson's parents, electronics and jewelry from Brittany's friends. Emma, my 7-year-old, whispered to me, "Why are their presents so much more expensive than ours at home?" "Because different families have different priorities," I said simply. After cake, the kids scattered to play. Zoe followed the twins to the kitchen. I was in the living room talking to our mother when I realized I needed more coffee. I walked toward the kitchen, and that's when I heard it. "Does your mom work?" One of the twins, Madison, asked Zoe. "Yeah, she works on computers," Zoe said proudly. "She's really smart." "What does she do?" "I'm not exactly sure. Something with numbers and markets. She says she helps people make good decisions about money." Then Brittany's voice. "Your mom works in a little office doing boring computer stuff. Aunt Brittany has a real career, a real life. Your mom never applied herself. She's satisfied with just existing. Never taking risks, never pushing herself. It's actually kind of sad." Silence. Then Zoe, her voice small. "My mom is smart." "I'm sure she is, honey. But smart doesn't mean successful. I mean, look around. Look at this house, this party. This is what success looks like. Your mom is comfortable, and that's fine for some people. But some of us want more." I stood frozen in the hallway. "Don't feel bad," Brittany continued. "Not everyone can be ambitious. Your mom just isn't built that way. She's happy with her little job and her little house. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I want you to know you can be more. You can have what Madison and Morgan have. You don't have to settle like your mom did." I walked into the kitchen. Brittany jumped slightly. "Vanessa, how long have you been standing there?" "Long enough." I looked at Zoe. "Honey, why don't you go find Emma? I need to talk to Aunt Brittany." Zoe left, looking relieved. I closed the kitchen door. "Did you just tell my daughter I'm a failure?" "I didn't say failure. You said I settled. You said I work in a little office doing boring computer stuff. You told her that I never applied myself." "Vanessa, I was just being honest." "Honest? You want to talk about honest? Let's be honest, Brittany. How much do you make?" "That's not." "How much?" "Annual salary, what is it?" She shifted uncomfortably. $85,000 plus commissions. Sometimes I hit $95,000. "And Carson?" "About the same. So combined, you make roughly $170,000 a year. Is that correct?" "What's your point?" "My point is that your mortgage on this house is $62,400 annually. Your private school tuition is $90,000 annually. Your car lease is $10,200 annually. That's $162,600 in just 3 expenses. Where does the money come from?" She crossed her arms. "The family trust. Grandma's estate." "There is no trust from Grandma's estate. Grandma left $50,000 split between us. You spent your half on a vacation to Europe. I invested mine." Her face went pale. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. The Callaway Family Trust. Established 3 years ago. Funded and managed by me. I've paid $427,000 over 3 years to cover your mortgage, tuition, and car lease. That's not possible. It's completely possible. I make $680,000 in base salary. Last year with bonuses, I made $1.9 million. I can afford to pay your bills, Brittany. What I can't afford is having you tell my children that I'm a failure while living in a house I'm paying for. She grabbed the counter for support. "You've been paying my mortgage? Every month for 3 years. The school tuition? Every semester. But why wouldn't you tell me?" "Because I thought it would help you." I thought it would give you breathing room, reduce stress, let you provide for your family. I thought maybe you'd use that financial stability to save money, build a future. Instead, you used it to pretend you're wealthier than you are while looking down on the person funding your charade. I didn't know. You didn't ask. You just assumed you deserved it. You assumed you were doing better than me because you drive a nicer car and have a bigger house. You never once asked how I was doing, what I was earning, whether I needed help. You just took the money and judged me. Brittany's eyes filled with tears. Vanessa, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. You meant every word. You think I'm boring and small and unsuccessful. You think my life is less valuable because I don't show off. But here's what you don't understand. I could buy your house 10 times over. I could pay for a different private school every year and never notice the expense. I have investments worth more than everything you own combined. Then why do you live the way you do? Because wealth isn't about showing off. It's about security. It's about freedom. It's about knowing my daughters will go to any college they want without debt. It's about working because I love what I do, not because I'm desperate to pay bills. It's about never having to call my sister begging for a loan because I bought a house I can't afford. She was crying now. What happens now? I thought about it. About the trust. About the payments I'd been making. About my daughter's face when Brittany called me a failure. The trust is being dissolved, I said quietly. Effective immediately. You have 3 months of payments remaining. That's already been transferred. After that, you're on your own. Vanessa, please. You'll need to sell this house or figure out how to actually afford it. You'll need to move the girls to public school or find tuition assistance. You'll need to live within your actual means instead of pretending you're something you're not. We'll lose everything. You won't lose everything. You'll lose the illusion. There's a difference. The girls' school, they're friends. We'll be fine. My daughters go to public school and they're thriving. They're happy. They're not being taught that their worth comes from a zip code or a school's price tag. I opened the kitchen door. I'm taking my family home now. Thank you for the party. And Brittany, the next time you want to tell someone about success, make sure you're not standing in a house you can't actually afford. I gathered my daughters, told our parents I wasn't feeling well, and left. In the car, Zoe asked, Mom, are you sad? A little. Aunt Brittany was mean. Yes, she was. Are you really a failure? I pulled over and turned to look at both my girls. Zoe, Emma, listen to me. Success isn't about how big your house is or what school you go to. Success is about being good at what you do, treating people with respect, and living according to your values. I'm very good at my job. I've built a life where we're secure and stable. That's success. But Aunt Brittany has a bigger house, Emma said. Aunt Brittany has a house she can't afford. There's a difference between having things and affording things. Do you understand? They nodded, not really understanding, but trusting me. Over the next 3 months, I watched from a distance as Brittany's life unraveled. They put the house on the market. Listed at $890,000, they eventually sold for $875,000, barely breaking even after commissions and closing costs. They moved to a townhouse in a less expensive area, still nice but not prestigious. The twins transferred to public school. Brittany called it a temporary adjustment on Facebook. Her friends commented sympathetically, not knowing the real story. Carson's parents offered to help with money. Brittany's pride wouldn't let her accept. She'd spent years telling everyone how successful they were. Admitting failure wasn't in her vocabulary. 6 months after the party, Brittany called me. Can we talk? We met for coffee. She looked tired. I'm sorry, she said immediately. For what I said about you, to Zoe, all of it. I was jealous and petty and wrong. Why were you jealous? You thought you were doing better than me. I thought I was supposed to look like I was doing better. I thought that's what mattered, the appearance of success. The house, the school, the car. I thought that's what made me valuable. And now I realize I was performing. Performing success, performing happiness, performing this version of myself that didn't exist. And it cost me everything, including my relationship with my sister. I sipped my coffee. The trust money is gone, Brittany. I'm not reinstating it. I know. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking if we can start over. If I can earn back your trust, your respect. What changed? I learned what it actually costs to live the life I was pretending to have. I learned humility. And I learned that my sister, who I thought was boring and small, is one of the most successful people I know. I just couldn't see it because it didn't look like I thought it should. We talked for 2 hours. She asked about my work, really asked with genuine curiosity. She apologized to Zoe directly, explaining that she'd been wrong and jealous and unkind. She started rebuilding. It's been a year now. We're not as close as we were, but we're closer than we were 6 months ago. She drives a used Honda. The twins are thriving in public school. She and Carson downsized their life to match their income, and she seems lighter somehow, less burdened by the weight of pretending. Last month, she asked, "Do you ever regret not showing off? Not letting people know how successful you are?" "Never," I said, "because real success isn't about what people see. It's about what you build when nobody's watching." She nodded slowly. "I'm learning that. It's a hard lesson. Most important ones are. My daughters learned something too. They learned that their mother's worth isn't measured in square footage or tuition bills. They learned that success is quiet and steady and real. And they learned that the most dangerous thing in the world isn't failure. It's the illusion of success built on someone else's foundation." Brittany told my kids I was a failure while standing in a house I paid for. The irony was lost on her at the time, but she understands it now. And that understanding cost her $427,000 worth of lessons. Some prices are worth paying. Others you discover you can't afford at all.